Not everyone possesses the relentless endurance of a Meryl Streep or a Jack Nicholson, sustaining a position at the pinnacle of the industry for decades on end. For most young talents who receive that coveted big break, the trajectory rarely involves a sustained high, followed by a graceful, slow descent. More often, Hollywood operates with a ruthless efficiency, quick to sideline those who fail to consistently meet an almost mythical standard, discarding promising careers at the first indication of struggle. The landscape is littered with figures who burned brightly but briefly. Today, we examine two such actresses who rose to prominence in the 1990s. Both were gifted with the opportunity to cement their status and ascend to a permanent tier of recognition, yet at a crucial juncture, their momentum faltered. Now, they exist largely as footnotes, their potential a subject of nostalgic speculation. Bridget Fonda entered the world with a legacy etched in cinematic history. As the daughter of Peter Fonda, granddaughter of Henry Fonda, and niece of Jane Fonda, the path before her seemed preordained. Surrounded by Oscars and Golden Globes, the question of her life's direction was answered by her very lineage. Her talent quickly validated her name. By 23, she had secured a role in the popular television series 21 Jump Street, sharing the screen with a then rising Johnny Depp. Rising Johnny Depp. This early exposure captured the industry's attention, leading to a steady stream of offers for supporting roles. Her breakthrough arrived in 1989 with the drama Scandal. While the film itself did not set the box office alight, Fonda's performance earned her a Golden Globe nomination, a signal flare that announced her arrival as a serious performer. From that moment, her career accelerated with remarkable force. She joined the esteemed cast of The Godfather Part 3 and starred alongside Michael J. Fox in the successful comedy Doc Hollywood. While The Godfather sequel was more of a critical than commercial triumph, Doc Hollywood became a genuine hit in American theatres, further solidifying her place. However, the true inflection point came in 1992 with the psychological thriller Single White Female. Crafted on a modest budget, the film became a major commercial success, grossing multiples of its cost in the United States alone. Fonda's compelling portrayal of a woman in peril transformed her into one of the most discussed young actresses of the era, with widespread predictions of a luminous future ahead. The mid-1990s represented the zenith of her professional life. In 1993, she seized the lead role in Point of No Return, an American remake of the French film La Femme Nikita. She inherited the part after both Jodie Foster and Winona Ryder declined, stepping into a project already shadowed by controversy. The original director refused to helm the remake, passing the reins to John Badham. Furthermore, the film suffered a significant, last-minute identity crisis. For most of its production, it bore the title The Specialist. Months before release, however, Warner Brothers reclaimed that title for an upcoming Steven Seagal film. With Seagal a dominant box office force at the time, the studio had little choice but to concede. Thus, Fonda's film was hastily rebranded Point of No Return, a vague and ultimately poor title that likely undermined its marketability. The film received middling reviews and achieved only modest box office returns, merely recouping its budget meat. The irony was palpable when, shortly thereafter, Seagal exited his own The Specialist project and the title was passed to Sylvester Stallone. Despite this setback, Fonda's career trajectory remained ostensibly strong. She demonstrated strategic savvy, carefully balancing leading roles in smaller independent films like Rough Magic and Little Buddha with studio projects such as It Could Happen to You opposite Nicolas Cage. She resisted the lure of purely commercial paychecks, even as her market value increased. By 1997, all indicators suggested Bridget Fonda was poised for a definitive leap to stardom. This perception was crystallized when Quentin Tarantino, then at the peak of his cultural influence, invited her to join the ensemble of Jackie Brown. Yet, in an unexpected twist, Tarantino's film underperformed commercially, with some contemporary critics labeling it a comparative misstep. This outcome was beyond prediction, and arguably beyond her control. Following Jackie Brown, a discernible shift occurred. A series of projects failed to find an audience. Some, like the critically admired A Simple Plan, faced box office disappointment despite their quality, often due to protracted and troubled productions that drained promotional energy. Others, like the big-budget comedy Monkeybone, were outright disasters, losing monumental sums of money and leaving behind a cloud of confusion. This string of commercial failures prompted a strategic pivot toward television, with her sole film role in this period being a supporting part in the Jet Li-led action film Kiss of the Dragon, which offered little career benefits. It was during this phase that composer Danny Elfman became a central figure in her personal life. Confronted with a choice between continuing with mediocre television and film offers or pursuing a different fulfillment, Bridget Fonda made a decisive choice. She married Elfman and voluntarily stepped away from the Hollywood machinery. In a final twist of fate, she received another Golden Globe nomination for television work around the time of her departure. Since 2002, she has not returned to acting, expressing no regrets and dedicating herself to family life. Her final role concluded at age 37. The trajectory of Linda Fiorentino presents a different, yet equally compelling, case study in vanished potential. Many recall her striking presence in 1990s cinema, yet by the early 2000s, she had effectively disappeared from wide-released films. Staum. Her career began with formidable credibility, launched by Martin Scorsese's After Hours in the 1980s. While not a box office hit, the film's critical acclaim brought her to the industry's attention, leading to a steady stream of roles in smaller films throughout the decade. By the early 1990s, she began transitioning to larger Hollywood productions. In 1993, she starred with Charlie Sheen in Beyond the Law, a drama with award ambitions that was unfortunately derailed by studio legal issues and sent directly to video. Her true career landmark arrived in 1994 with The Last Seduction. Her masterful, cunning performance earned her a BAFTA nomination for Best Actress, and should have catapulted her into the industry's upper echelon. Paradoxically, it preceded a precipitous decline. The following year, she starred in William Friedkin's erotic thriller Jade. The project was burdened with a massive budget and immense expectations, positioned as a successor to the era's thrillers. However, it flopped spectacularly, grossing a mere fraction of its cost and effectively heralding the end of the erotic thriller genre's dominance. Fiorentino had initially rejected the role repeatedly, only acquiescing after considerable financial persuasion. The production was plagued by problems, including a disavowed script and exorbitant talent costs. The film's failure was total, earning Razzie nominations and damaging the standing of all involved. After Jade, Fiorentino's professional luck failed to recover. A series of flops followed throughout 1996 and 1997. A genuine opportunity for resurrection appeared with a supporting role in the blockbuster phenomenon Men in Black. The film's global success briefly restored her visibility, yet this resurgence proved ephemeral. Whether due to subsequent role selections or managerial missteps, her momentum evaporated once more. Her only other notable project in the following years was a role in Kevin Smith's Dogma. By the time Men in Black 2 entered production, her character was written out of the script entirely. Her final major theatrical release was the 2002 action film Liberty Standstill, which failed commercially. Following this, Fiorentino actively began refusing roles. Attempts to transition to television stalled when expensive series projects collapsed in pre-production. A planned biopic of artist Georgia O'Keeffe fell apart after clashes with producers. Later, she acquired the rights to a script about poet Anna Akhmatova, planning to produce and star, but the film was ultimately cancelled. Her last appearance was in the small 2009 indie drama Once More with Feeling, which passed by unnoticed. Since then, she has not been attached to any new projects, completing a retreat from public life as definitive as it is mysterious. The narratives of Bridget Fonda and Linda Fiorentino converge on a sobering truth about the film industry. Both possessed undeniable talent, earned critical recognition, and stood at the threshold of enduring stardom. Their careers were not undone by a lack of ability, but by a complex, often cruel, alchemy of timing, project selection, market shifts, and sheer misfortune. One chose a quiet exit on her own terms, the other seemed to be gradually written out of the industry's script aid. Their stories serve as poignant reminders that in Hollywood, the line between perennial star and forgotten talent is often perilously thin, governed by forces that extend far beyond mere performance.